Ako si Attorney Darwin Cañete, and my program is Pugad Vloggers, aired every Monday to Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. dito sa Radyo Bandido, simulcast on DZRJ 810 AM, on Sky Cable, Channel 224, TV Plus boxes, and on free-to-air TV, facebook.com/DZRJ 810 AM, and our official YouTube channel. Nood po kayo!
Pugad Vloggers, ang kurap titirisin, salot sa bayan wawalisin, walang sasantuhin, ang saya-saya nakakabaliw, kasama natin ang tropa. Pugad Vloggers, Pugad Vloggers.
Ayan, mga kapugad, this is Attorney Darwin Cañete. I'm broadcasting here in Pugad Vloggers. Good evening sa inyong lahat na nanonood dito sa aming station, DZRJ 810 AM. Unfortunately, my good friend, Attorney Tom Berenguer, will not be joining me tonight, but it's okay. We will have a good topic to talk about. And of course, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, DZRJ 810 AM Facebook page, I will be reading some of your comments and greetings. And for those of you who are on YouTube, thank you for liking and subscribing our channel. And I hope we grow the channel, and on social media. And of course, nandito rin sa mga nasa radyo. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Yung mga kumakain dyan, I hope I can bring some, improve your dinner by a good topic. And then yung mga nasa pauwi naman, be safe po sa inyong lahat yan. We are also simulcast live, channel 224 on cable. Likewise, meron din po kaming tinatawag na Radio Garden app. So, good evening sa inyong lahat. Anong maganda pag-usapan? Well, mainit na topic sa social media, yung balikan ng mga, usapan sa mga blogosphere, yung mga nasa Twitter, nasa Facebook, pinag-uusapan yung historical revisionism. Nagsimula ho, actually hindi na bago yung topic na yan, ever since naman may Marcos na tumakbo, palaging nilalabas yan, yung sinasabi nilang historical revisionism. Dahil syempre ayaw ng mga nakaupo, yung mga against the Marcoses, na yung side nila ang mapakinggan. Kasi nga naman, syempre marami sa mga tumakbo sa politika natin sumasakay doon sa kwento, sa side na sila ay ganitong klaseng tao, mga pamilya, or meron silang ginawang masama sa bayan natin. Now, let's talk about historical revisionism. Ang sa atin lang, the historical revisionism is emotional. Dahil marami sa mga kababayan natin, lalong-lalo na sa, dilawan opposition, ayaw baguhin yung kwento. Ayaw baguhin yung kwento na ang pagpapatalsik dahil dating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos ay mali. They want to ride on the justification. They want to maintain the validity of the people power narrative. O nga naman, maraming sumakay dyan The entire Cory government and the subsequent Noynoy government, all were rooted, lahat yan nag-ugat, sa pag-maintain ng naratibo na the people power incident, the people power ousting in 1986 was a valid act. Wala namang nagbabago in terms of the occurrence. Historical fact na nagkaroon ng people power movement. But maraming participants na buhay pa. Not only on the be able to fact check, or able to verify claims made during the actual people power revolution. Marami din ang buhay pa upang pag-usapan yung ugat ng ganong klaseng ousting, no, nung pag-aaklas ng people power. Among the players at the time, still alive, of course, is General Fidel Ramos, who is still former President Fidel Ramos, and of course, former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile. Andyan sila. And then you have, of course, some of the senators who are still, well, former senators who are still in office or already retired pala from politics, no, who were present during the events, di ba? Marami ding nag-claim na nandun sila sa actual people power incident, sa people power uprising. So, lahat yun, they were eyewitness to history. Now, ang naging problema dito is that kung may mag-side ng Marcoses ang gagawa ng kanilang side na explanation, let's say by publication or by film na ginagawa tulad nung pelikulang Made in Malacanang by Director Darwin, biglang nagkakaroon ng emotional reaction, lalong-lalo na sa talagang paniwalang-paniwala na ganito dapat ang history. Ganito dapat ang naikikwento sa libro, ito dapat ang naikikwento sa television, balita, ako ano-ano mang gathering or convention talking about the martial law years and the people power uprising. So, doon, meron tayong, pag-ikutan natin, pag-usapan natin yan. Historical revision in itself, no? Parang based on tingnan natin yung sinasabi ng Wikipedia, no? In historiography, sabi ng Wikipedia, historical revisionism is the reinterpretation of a historical account. It usually involves challenging the orthodox, which when we say orthodox, established, accepted, or traditional views held by professional scholars about a historical event or time span or phenomenon, introducing contrary evidence or reinterpreting the motivations and decisions of the people involved. The revision of the historical record can reflect new discoveries of fact, evidence, interpretations, which then results in revisions. So, ito yung pagtawag sa nakalibro, nakaukit na pag-aralan ng maraming scholar na ganito ang pangyayari. Pero ang claim ng ibang tao na bagong ebidensya, bagong view, pinapasok. Bagong interpretation ng nangyari. Di ba? Sabi ng Cora, when what is historic revisionism? This is from historyplex.com, no? / historical revisionism influence history. If you look it over the internet, yung sabi nga nila GMG, Google mo Ginoo. Okay, so what is historic revisionism? Sabi ng historyplex.com. When through research, new historical data evidence services, the current theories and conclusions must be reassessed to verify their validity. Okay? When governments disclose previously banned documents or information to the public, when ancient languages, I don't know if this applies to us, no? Pero this is a general rule, no? Pag nagkaroon ng in the case of ancient history, ancient languages are deciphered, which makes it possible to study ancient writings in greater detail. There are new scientific technologies and instruments helping in better analysis of the ages and authenticity of old artifacts. No? May mga, for example, yung mga bagong pamamaraan ng pag-analyze ng paintings you will be able to find, the history of a particular work, di ba? Based on new knowledge, yung aging, yung kailan ginawang isang painting, kakaroon ng bagong evidence na ito ay dated in a particular era and not in a later era. So parang based on scientific instruments, certain facts about certain things, madidiscover mo na hindi pala dito yon, dapat dito sa kabila yan. Parang that's one of the ways where historical revisionism, walang question. And when cultural change makes it possible to examine historical events with a new perspective. Sa US, for example, there's a holiday called Columbus Day. Di ba? Ito yung pagdiskubre ni Christopher Columbus sa Amerika, doon sa kanyang historical navigation on the globe. No question doon. Okay? Pero nung nagkaroon ng konting yung mga natives, no? Yung mga sinasabi nilang the minorities, due to cultural studies of the effect of the discovery or rediscovery of the Philippines, of the United States pala, sorry. Yung kanilang perception sa discovery ni Christopher Columbus, nag-iba yung interpretations. For those who traditionally celebrated Columbus Day, it was a day to be proud because it was the founding of America. Na-discover di ba? That was the time when America was named as America. Pero para sa mga nandoon na, yung mga minorities na nag-suffer sa history ng puti, Columbus Day is different, it's interpreted differently. Iba yung dating sa kanila ng Columbus Day. Ito yung unang panahon na kung saan ang kanilang mga cultural pride ay napakan. Ito yung mga natives na naging mga slaves, ginawang kasi nung na-discover ng mga explorers itong mga sinasabi nilang countries for their particular mother nation, Spain, or in the case of England, mga ganon. Naglalanding yung explorers nila, pag nakakita sila ng mga natives, ginagawa nilang alipin, slaves. Okay? Kasi hindi pantay ang tingin ng puti doon sa mga natives. Para sa kanila, parang medyo angatan ng konti sa ordinaryong hayop. So, nagiging dinadala sa kanilang mother country, ginagawang show, ginagawang demo, ginagawang para kang nagdala ng tao na pang-display. Okay? Actually, Professor Van Ibiernas will probably be a better speaker here, no? He is, after all, the history professor. This is my take as a person who is watching all this in social media. Okay, so here we have now the people reacting emotionally to the narrative na alam natin so far. Na ganito yung nangyari ng martial law, ganito yung nangyari ng people power. Nung nagsalita ang isang tao na sa tingin nila is linked towards the Marcoses or favorable ang view sa Marcoses, biglang naglundagan itong mga professors. Dapat hindi ganito, hindi ganun. Look, wala namang ginagawang definitive work itong mga taong nagko-comment sa history. What they may be saying is wrong, etc. Tama. Let's put it there. Sabi na natin na nakaukit na sa bato yung sinasabi nilang ganito ang nangyari. Wala akong question doon. If they can back it up, if they manage to produce scholarly work or any kind of documentation, walang problema doon. What I am really after here is the fact na kapag may ganong nangyari, hindi correction ang nangyayari. There is no, hindi fact-checking. Hindi ibig sabihin na this is what history says. No. Ang nangyari is kinukuyog yung nagsalita. Regardless of wrong, wala namang malis doon eh. If they want to say something, it is the right of every citizen. Para sa akin karapatan ng na ipahayag yung kanilang sinasabi. Di ba? I don't know why social media is quick to make people who are saying what they feel or what they think. Kasi they have the same right to speak out. Kung mali, misinformation, disinformation, gano'n, the platform is also open to the orthodox view to republish or to say yung gusto nilang sabihin, to correct or tawag nito, to say to that person, di ba, na what you're saying is wrong, etc. Pero the way the yung emotional reaction ng mga involved, look, actress to eh. Actress to eh. This is a person who is not claiming any kind of credibility as a spokesman for historical fact. This is just a person saying na I think, di ba? That the day, yun na, pinagtulungan niya na. Pinagtulungan na nila. Now, the other people who have the same thinking, syempre, umatake din. And what happens now is that this person who said something against that person is now claiming the victim card. Ganun ang events na nangyari dito. Actress, professor, and then the professor, then you have the school saying na, no, we condemn, etc. But at the end of the day, these are all emotional responses. Nobody is actually tawag nito, coming up with rational, no? Yung sinasabi nilang maayos na no, ganito yun. Ganito yung nangyari. Now, my take here is ganito. We already know the side, more or less, of the person upholding the official line, the orthodox. Problema lang, the equal space given to the actual participants, the actual subject of the historical account, hindi natin masyado natanong. Sabi na natin silang they're lying. Sabi natin ganon. But it is their right, karapatan nila to say it because they were there. Now, you may say you are wrong, you are covering, you're lying, but that's the way it is. Di ba? Hindi natin maalis so kanila, they want to speak out. Let them hear it. Let them say what they want to say. Let them say their piece. Diba? And let the historians deal with it. Pero kung mahina naman na sinasabi ng mga Marcos and their, of course, supporters, hindi naman magbabago ang history because it is in control of the historians who write the books na educating our children, professors who are educating the students. So, ano ba talaga ang harm dito to just allow the Marcoses to say what they want? Kasi meron namang magsasabi na, no, that's not correct. You are lying here. Diba? Ganun lang yun. Kasi I don't get all the emotional responses. I don't get the emotional, yung parang gusto mo nang manakal doon sa nag-speak out. Nagsalita. Di ba? If it's wrong, it's wrong. Pero the speaker, bakit nyo bubuli? Bakit nyo kukuyugin? You know, this is just so, I'm just advocating for social media restraint. Di ba? If you want to react to something that a claim that is wrong, the forum or the platform is open for you to say your piece also. Yun lang yun eh. Not to engage in any kind of sabi natin offline, unacceptable offline behavior. 'Di ba? Kasi nababasa ko rin na yung actress nagsabi, bakit dinadamay pamilya ko? Tama naman. The response is irrational. And actually, walang tinatawag na proportionality eh. This is not a historian claiming na ganito ang nangyari. This is not a person of stature na siyempre dahil nga sa bigat ng kanyang reputation and credibility would attack the given historical fact, yung nakaukit sa bato. na pinagtatanggol ng mga professors and whoever who is believes the story or believes the account. This is an actress, more so a young actress. So they say something in ignorance, but that isn't new. Hindi ano yan eh. The behavior, yung ugali na pinakita natin dito in reaction to what she said is disproportionate. It is so amusing how naging ganito yung ugali, naging toxic. The entire idea that history cannot be subject, insofar as martial law, insofar as people power, EDSA, is untouchable as a topic. Na kapag ito na yung topic, wag na nating dagdagan pa. So basically, for the persons reacting in a toxic manner, more or less na ano na eh, na naging doctrine, set in stone na yung lahat ng accounts. But you have to remember the subject of the topics are the Marcoses. And they are alive. The Imelda Marcos herself, 90, just celebrated her birthday. Diba? Regardless of how you feel about her and her husband, Mrs. Marcos, the senior Mrs. Marcos, she's alive to tell her part. Bakit natin, sabi natin self-serving, sabi na natin na syempre she will not say anything bad about the time that they were in power. Given na yun. Diba? But it is an invaluable, no? That they are still alive to give their accounts. Let's not stop them from saying their piece. Diba? All the ordinary people, all these ordinary people, kung hindi apelyido nila yun, they can speak, they should be able to speak out. Why is it that they are barred to speak out dahil lang sa apelyido nila? Okay? Sige, sabi na natin, ganitong ginawa nila. Again, for the historical record, buhay pa sila para sabihin yung part nila. You know, if you want to see a more, to hear a more organized presentation of the other side, hanapin nyo si Miss Rita Gadi. You'd be fascinated about the other side of what was happening. Di ba? Because hindi lahat ng mga dilaw na sumakay doon sa people power na yan. Hindi lahat. Yung mga yan, may pinanggalingan yan din during the Marcos administration. Ano din yan eh, according to some accounts, these people also, when there was yet no, uprising, hindi pa nagkaroon ng kampihan, they were knee-deep in the same kind of behavior na took advantage of their proximity, their status. Ibig sabihin, hindi ganun kasing santo yung mga ibang sumusuporta sa ganitong kwento. Kasi nung panahon na yung iba yung kwento, yung namayagpag pa yung mga Marcoses, yung mga yan, isa yan sa mga, malamang isa sila sa mga susunod-sunod at bola-bola at dumidikit-dikit sa pamilya na at nakinabang din. So, again, these are the stories that need to be told so that you will know precisely the kind of character of the people who subsequently switched sides, yung mga bumalimbing, kung sino yung mga yan. Diba? Kasi hindi nyo alam, syempre napakalinis na ng tingin nyo sa pamilya ng mga certain politicians, sa mga anak nila, etc. Pero hindi nyo na alam ang kwento ng pamilya siguro, ng politiko o politikang nagmana ng mga apelyido. And that's very, very helpful for us. Diba? If you're asking for the certain kind of accountability from the Marcos family, please note that some of the people that you are worshiping now, some of the people that you think are anti-Marcos, has their wealth and influence originated from the time when the Marcoses were in, the previous Marcos Sr. was in power. Diba? Just be conscious of that. Hindi porke anti-Marcos now, doesn't mean na nung panahon nung kopong-kopong, 1970s and onwards, 1969, 1970s onwards, during the martial law term, hindi sila kasama sa mga nag-behave in a manner that has not been held to account. 'Di ba? Baka hindi nyo lang na alam kasi syempre nagmalinis na, nagugas na ng kamay, bumaliktad na, bumalimbing na. So those are the kinds of stories that we need to know. Not, one family cannot build so much. 'Di ba? May mga ano din 'yan. There are there are groups below that. There are supporters below that. And some of the things that you are blaming the Marcos family may have been, actions taken by these families who eventually became turncoat, yung bumaliktad. So, yung binibintang yung nangyari, baka ang gumawa niyan, hindi yung pamilya mismong kinamumuhian ninyo, kundi yung mga bumaliktad in a subsequent administration. So, these are the facts that are not yet openly discussed in history, but has to be known, has to be documented. Diba? So, para magkaroon ng buong kwento, kung papakinggan mo lang ang isang side, meron talagang kontrabida at bida. But if you look at the entire historical record, yung mga pinagagawa ng mga lahat ng involved sa politika natin, everything they did then and what they did now, makikita mo yung pattern, makikita mo yung entire story. I think that will count so much for our political maturity. Na not everything is a history, is a kind of Manichaean. Alam mo Manichaean term? Yung may mabuti, may masama. Hindi puti, hindi itim. If we allow the other side to speak their piece and then test their evidence, pagtimbangin yung claim nila na ganito ang nangyari, ito kausap ko, ito yung napag-usapan, ito yung nangyari, na hindi na record because you only listen to one side, certain events may make sense. Di ba? Magkakaroon ng konting sense. For example, yung claim na umiikot talaga to. Umiikot talaga sa lahat ng maraming mga one-sided istorya. What's the first story? Si President Ferdinand Marcos nagpapatay kay Ninoy. Okay? That's one thing that's been circulating, kaya good and evil. Good si Ninoy, bad si Marcos. Pinapatay daw niya si Marcos. But you have to look at what happened in history. Baka hindi nila alam that at the time when Ninoy was incarcerated, this is historical fact. Kaya lang hindi napi-play up in media, no? Hindi masyadong napi-bring up. Ninoy, alam niyo ba paano napunta sa US yan? It was through also the grace of the Marcoses. And pati yung pag-oopera ng puso niya, Ninoy had a heart condition. Historical fact din yun. So, if Marcos considered Ninoy a person to be killed, he didn't need to send him abroad to get heart operation. Hindi kailangan magamot yan. He could have just let him rot in jail with his heart condition and eventually pass away. So, parang ganun You have to look at certain events that happened, documented. Hindi natin pinapabida yung mga Marcos sa kwento. Ang ginagawa lang natin in terms of historical revisionism is expose the parts na documented, totoo, but puts a different, it does not, parang defines the persons involved as not wholly evil or not wholly good. May yan, may interplay. Tao yan people like to box people. No? Yung ibig sabihin, ito ka, parang statistics ng, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of role-playing game, you're boxed to certain behaviors. Di ba? Pero people are not that boxed. Hindi sila categorized in certain, people can hold two conflicting ideas in the same person. Di ba? Merong, for example, in the issue of abortion, pero against death penalty. But if you look at it from a certain viewpoint, death penalty is just late abortion. Very late abortion. So parang ganun eh. Human life in terms of abortion is different from human life that is taken during the imposition of the death penalty. But both opinions can reside in the same person. Diba? Yung parang you are against abortion but you are pro death penalty. May mga ganung tao eh. And they say there might be two conflicting ideas, if you look at it really, two conflicting reactions to issues, but they reside in the same person. Ganun yun. People are seldom that easy to categorize because people, conflicting ideas, conflicting thoughts are running every day. Different people. Believe me, I know that. Marami akong nakakausap sa everyday na trabaho ko or social circles, People have conflicting ideas. They're just not aware of the conflict, but there it is. So, going back to historical revisionism, hindi natin hinuhugasan ng kasalanan kahit kanino. But people are entitled to know the full story so that they can have a balanced perspective on what is happening now. Diba? Sabi natin nag-come up, syempre, lahat ng mga involved yan, gustong bida sila. They have their own press releases on the behavior that they were undergoing. Wala namang gusto mapahiya sa nangyari eh. Even if a lot of them engage in, the kind of behavior that is condemnable now. Diba? But again, nandito na tayo sa emotional reaction pag ganun nangyayari. People are not rational when it comes to attacking or changing what is been written in the books. Okay, we understand why. Siyempre, pag ikaw naman certain facts already form the core of your personal religion, yung headcanon mo, yung nasa utak mo na ganito na talaga, you tend to associate your identity with that particular set of facts. Because they're part of what makes you function, your ideology. For me, ganun ang dating sa akin eh. So when you try to rock the core of your beliefs, which form part of the personality that you built up over the years, it seems personal. Diba? Personal ang dating eh. Lalo-lalo sa Pilipino, we are very, very strong in terms of identity politics. Diba? We want to be labeled to hold certain views, to be identified with certain groups. Ano na yan? That's embedded na yan sa ating ugali bilang Pinoy. We want to be with the in crowd, whoever happens to be the in crowd. Diba? Or gusto natin maging outsider. But anyway, whatever group we pass na we belong, magaling tayo sa tinatawag na street cred eh. Yung sinasabi nila na, in order to be part of this faction, you have to check a few boxes. Diba? So, yun. And then when you do that, when you attack those ideas that make up your identity politics, it sounds personal and you react in a emotional way. Diba? Nagiging enemy yung advocate ng side that attacks your beliefs. That's not a phenomenon just in politics. No? Religion din. Kaya makikita mo yung the great debates dito sa social media and sa mga iba-ibang sekta ng relihiyon natin. I remember watching on television, watching television. The great debates between Iglesia ni Cristo and ang dating daan and some Catholic I don't know kung priests or lay persons on interpretation of certain passages in the Bible, or at least certain doctrines or certain belief, core beliefs. Makikita mo talaga yung hindi lang expression ng differences, nandun na rin yung personalan na parang feeling mo na kung hindi lang restrained by the forum, magdi-Jerry Springer style na yung banatan dyan. If you know Jerry Springer, ito yung program doon sa television ng uso ng 90s or sabi natin mid-2000s, early 2000s, na yung mga guests nila, pagsasabungin, di ba? Yung equivalent niyan sa atin, yung program ni Ami Perez sa Channel 5 noon. But, you know, there it is. Magsasabong at magsasakalan, magsasapakan. You know, people, especially Filipinos, take certain things personally. And I'm telling you, why the Marcoses versus Dilao story has gone on for 36 years. The grudges between the parties have carried over so long, which is why a lot of people say the historical, sabi nating, win of President Duterte was a step in the right direction. Because we have now a president who is, although a product of one side of the story, is nevertheless doesn't care about your faction. He moved forward. He was a non-denominational president. He does not ascribe to a certain orthodoxy, a certain, you know, si President Duterte kasi ang tawag diyan iconoclast yung mga, if you're picking a side in any kind of great political argument in this country, he doesn't care about that. He just moved forward with what he's thinking. Hindi orthodox So that was, for a lot of people, a step in the right direction because he was parang agnostic siya doon sa the great Marcos versus Dilawan debate. But anyway, moving forward, no, I'll check the chat natin dito because a lot of people are maybe commenting on our page. Oh, marami-rami na rin Yolanda Inong, good evening. Fiscal Darwin watching from Capas, Tarlac. So thank you for watching, Yolanda Inong. We have Chona Makahilos, magandang Wednesday ng gabi. Attorney Darwin Cañete, stay safe. God bless Quezon City. Yan. Huin, good PM, Attorney Darwin, a big follower here watching from New Jersey. Hello, New Jersey. You know, when people mention New Jersey, palagi nasa utak ko yung Sopranos I'm sorry to say. And I think one of the actors in Sopranos just died recently, si Paulie Walnuts. Tony Sirico. So, yung funny guy, funny part in Sopranos, one of my favorite, one of the greatest television programs that I've watched. Joey Ilaga, good PM. One example, FDR regarded as a hero of EDSA is the chief of the Philippine Constabulary na di umano ng abuso ng martial law years pero wala sa history nila. Yes, correct. People seem to exempt FBR from any accountability of what happened. If indeed the martial law years was that abusive, the chief implementer was former President FBR. Correct? So why are people not holding him to account considering nasa pwesto siya noon? And he was the chief implementer of that martial law that many Dilawans found objectionable, want to maintain as a dark period of our history. Bakit hindi siya nag-set down yung ginawa niya nung panahon? And why is he not being held accountable for any abuses of the then constabulary? So, you see the disconnect? Hindi lahat ng mga dapat magbayad na nandito naman sa Pilipinas, ba't hindi niya pinagbayad? Diba? Okay, Romeo Kawaling, what I experienced regarding EDSA 1986, Cory Aquino was giving her speech. In the US Congress, she was boasting that the people power was bloodless, and yes, she was given a standing ovation. Come to know, despite the threat of the Marcos life, the late FEM stopped the use of firearms despite General Ver's insistence. The result was bloodless. What happened after the US visit from Cory? She ordered the dispersal of the farmers rallying in Mindiola, resulting to the death of 13 farmers. Will historians put this in the book? Worse, the professors in the UP blame the Marcoses in kidding the farmers to brainwash the young because they are communists. Well, I don't know about the claim they are communists, no. But that's a very, that's a perspective of Mr. Romeo Kawaling in the chat. Luz Papa, good evening, Sir Darwin. Hello. Priscilla Kojima says, tama po sir, siya po talaga ang mabuso ng martial law pero bulag ang mga salot na dilawan sa masasamang ginawa ng traidor na si Tabaco. Well, that's one perspective of Miss Priscilla Kojima. Argus Troy, the Marcoses have all the right to air their side of the story. They should not be denied their right. Okay, wala namang nagsasabi na porke nagsabi ang Marcos na ganito nangyari that people would automatically believe them. That's not the point here. The point here is that they are entitled to tell their part of the story. Now, the evaluation of whether what they said is self-serving or not is the job of the historians. But from a person who, like Elon Musk, believes in absolute free speech, except of course yung mga clear and present danger restrictions, no? Yung mga nag-i-endanger ng buhay ng tao, they are very well entitled to say, di ba? As long as it does not endanger people, free speech should be guarded. Di ba? It should not be suppressed because of your surname or because of what you believe. Di ba? Kung free speech lang, speech lang pag-uusapan. Hindi yung speech na that harms, that advocates harm, that advocates danger or threatens the state. Mga ganong klaseng speech na this is just commenting on their side of what happened. I see nothing wrong with it. Di ba? Wala namang nagsasabing paniwalaan nyo. Ang sabi lang namin is pakinggan nyo. Or kahit hindi nyo pakinggan, wala namang problema ang off switch sa mga radio at television. Di ba? But again, the perspective is people like Daryl Yap or the actress who said, history is chismis, ganon, they may be right or they may be wrong, but it is their perfect right to say that. No matter how, if you think or you believe na hindi intelligent yun, or hindi, it's not something you say, you evaluate it based on who said it, what was said, etc. Diba? Marami sa nag-comment above 18 eh. Ibig sabihin, ang presumption ng batas, you're an adult. And an adult is, dapat tingnan mo, you should see it from an adult perspective. What I do not get, what I don't understand, is that the emotional reactions are not the reactions of adults. They are the reactions of immature children. So, ganon. In as much as the historian involved, I think Professor Ocampo, was also attacked by people who disagree with him, hindi rin maganda ang sa kanya, di ba? But again, this is the hazards of social media. Di ba? So ganun 'yun. Dapat pag ganitong comment, the public, depending on its mood, will act in certain ways. Given na 'yun. Di ba? Don't expect people who disagree with you to like you. Diba? If you take a certain side, the other side will not like you. Diba? So, given na yan, it's why we claim as yung palaging nag-swipe ng victim card. Diba? Like Rufa Gutierrez is an actress and playing a part in a movie. Diba? And then suddenly, because of that, doing her job, she was attacked on social media. Di ba? Kung nabaitan siya doon sa mga taong katrabaho niya and adopts that viewpoint, that's her life. Di ba? We have no obligation to make everybody toe the same line. Di ba? It's only when they cross the law, yung ibig sabihin nag-violate ng batas, may binviolate na rights, may masinalbahe, they will be held accountable by the law. But if they bear a certain opinion because wrong or do you disagree, di ba? Pabayaan mo. Nawala ba yung pagkain mo because of certain people holding certain beliefs? Is there any particular loss to your life in terms of how you interact on a daily basis in reality? Di ba? It's ano, I put things in perspective eh. Marami akong nababasa sa social media that I don't agree with. In fact, I found a lot of them really offensive. But, hindi naman yan things that should take up more than it should of your time. Kung lahat ng mga anonymous accounts dyan na galit sa'yo, papansinin mo, lahat yan, you make a federal case about it or a national case about it, it will consume your time. People are gonna keep doing it kasi inis sila sa'yo. One negative comment on Twitter or Facebook or any kind of social media platform, nabasa mo, siniraan ka, and it's from an account that is anonymous or mga sinasabi nilang clone accounts or yung mga ghost accounts, etc. So mag-obsess ka niyan. You will spend your time being angry, being upset, and then trying to take revenge. Mag-isip ka ng maraming senaryo sa utak mo para makaganti. Di ba? So you're going to be wasting your time. Because the time you will have to spend to find that person who made the negative comment, for you to go on a, you will have to make the rest of the time that you're supposed to spend with your family, with your work, etc. You have to set them aside because you're going to take time trying to find that person with an anonymous account or a follower of about 0 or 2 or 3 or 4 followers. Magiging center ng buhay mo for a few hours or days or weeks until you get closure or satisfaction. But that's not gonna happen. Much of the encounters mo sa social media, marami dyan, mga trolls. Marami dyan trolls na nang-uurat lang, yung nanggugulo lang. Diba? Sometimes it's not worth it. So same thing with here. What will be the product of all these people dumping on an actress who has a certain viewpoint that they disagree with? And is she deserving of that? She was expressing a fact, which is her right as a citizen. She has an account like the rest of us. Pero yan, dinadox ninyo, pati pamilya niya, gano'n. Did you feel better with that? Nagbago ba isip niya? Same thing. Okay? So, anyway, that's one of the things that I'm getting off my chest kasi this is social media. Pugad Vloggers is all about social media. This is just one hint that we have already toxified social media because people are not, parang inisip talaga natin that everything that happens in social media is as important as what happens in real life. It's not. It's an artificial reality. It's an artificial, parang parang it's virtual. It's in the web, di ba? Pero at the end of the day, it's just you who cares about it. Doesn't change your job, doesn't change your earnings, it doesn't change your relationship with your family. Diba? We're also worked up. Sabi nga nila, much ado about nothing. So yung Bardagulan, the elections are over. People have spoken already through their votes. So, what are you spending your time for? To destabilize the government? But the government will not be destabilized. The armed forces are behind the president. The mandate is very clear. The hierarchy is very supportive of the president. So you will spend such time attacking the current president, whether through these proxy issues like historical revisionism, etc. Those are, it's not gonna get anywhere. Yung yung mga angat buhay pala, sorry. Making the president look bad by this magnifying small acts of Leni Robredo to make President Marcos look bad. It's not gonna work. You tried that in 2016 onwards. And look what happened. Overwhelming landslide win of BBM in the last elections. You said you founded a movement. You even had Google Trends. Didn't result in anything. Walang nangyari. So you're gonna spend a lot of your time, your personal angst, yung puso ninyo, yung halos sasabog na sa pakikipag-away, and then it's gonna get nowhere. Diba? Alam mo, sa buhay natin, your capital in existence is time. And you're gonna spend time, a currency that is very finite, on issues and personalities who really don't even know you exist. Put that into perspective. Anyway, I'd like to greet my fellow Pugad vlogger co-host, Tony Tom Berenguer, Maricar Serrano, Professor Frank Piernes, Doc Ethel Pineda, and of course, Papi Mark Lopez. And of course, I just greet also my family, my wife Wilma, my two kids Grayson and Sofia. Diba? By the way, I'm going to stay in Bigan City. It's a very, very big city. And I'm enjoying, as referred by my friend Leslie Bocobo, this place called this hotel, nakalimutan. Felicidad. Very, very nice place. You know, deceptive yung nasa sa website nila. You think it was because it looks old, di ba? It looks the structure, the beds are very traditional. Pagpasok ko pa lang ng hall, aircon na. So, very, very nice place here. I'm enjoying it here. Thank you, Leslie. And of course, yung mga nanonood sa atin, manood po kayo ng DZRJ 810 AM. Maraming programa na maganda dito. Our next program, of course, is Oras ng Himala, and followed by Kakape with Bernard Tan. So this is Pugad Vloggers. We are here Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. DZRJ 810 AM. You can follow us through YouTube, Radio Garden app, channel 224, Sky Cable. We are also, of course, here on Facebook, social media. You follow the accounts of DZRJ 810 AM. Maraming magandang programa dito. And of course, we have different days, different hosts. Also, I'd like to greet, of course, Harold Tan, who is going to be the host on Friday. So, more or less new host. Good friend of mine, kilala ko for many, many years. And of course, yung mga may birthday, and congratulations, of course, to those who have birthdays today. May have a very, very great celebration. Among them, of course, is friends natin dito sa Facebook. Wala sa akin ng listahan, but I was thinking of really greeting all of them. No? And of course, my friends in the panel, si Chief Ocampo, Chief Joel Taliping, Chief si Rudy Ricamora, Chief Budes, Eva, and of course, our new DOJ Secretary, Rimulya. Congratulations, sir, and we are very, very encouraged by your leadership in the DOJ. And of course, thank you to all who are still watching Pugad Vloggers. Kayo po ang nagbibigay buhay sa aming programa. We are very, very thankful na napakarami ho naming mga nakikita kami, binabati kami. Also, I'd like to greet Ira Panganiban, who's also a host here in Pugad Vloggers. And of course, our PCO Secretary, Trixie Cruz Angeles. Oo nga pala, ako, another topic close to my heart is the Pasig Expressway. I hope we build that because ako mismo, I'm very hopeful that certain parts of our regions like Rizal, Antipolo, mga ganong areas, Pasig, will get the kind of development they deserve. masyado tayong siksikan dito sa core Metro Manila. We need to spread development and jobs to, and then I believe in infrastructure. Like President Duterte has proven that by build, build, build. And I hope President Marcos will follow, because like his father, who has been the great builder. We have marami pong infrastruktura like the San Juanico Bridge, ngayon napapakinabangan pa natin. So we hope that he will follow the infrastructure orientation of his father, which is to build roads, to expand the airports, the railways. Tayo lahat natin yon, kasi people in the countryside, outside the Metro Manila, should experience tinatawag ng economic stimuli, lalo ngayon nagtataasan yung because of the war in Ukraine and other external factors na wala tayong magagawa kahit sino nakaupo. So anyway, thank you so much, and I hope good night from Pugad Vloggers, Attorney Darwin Cañete. Bye.